Hey there, everyone, and welcome back to Of Guild and Coin, session 11. Rather than doing a recap, if you haven't seen the first part of this session, feel free to take a look at the first half in the previous video. So, that said, we're going to jump right in. Al had to leave us as he had work today, but that still leaves us with Toshtar, Amrit, and Nysra.
No.
Well, and Nysra. So
Nysra's here. Just Nysra isn't here.
Yes, this is true.
Yeah.
She's nearby, lurking.
So, Emery.
Yeah?
You said you wanted to commiserate with Kurosta about the war?
Yes.
Alright.
See how everything's going. Try not to eat him. I have 3 days.
So
3 days.
So when
Only
you
3 days.
when you find him, he's sitting in the main body of the tavern. Looks like he's eating some sort of elsewhere soup. From judging by the smell, it has a slight cheese scent to it, so you figure it might be elsewhere fondue.
Okay.
But definitely too sweet. You know, there's definitely some moon sugar in there.
Well, I know him.
So how would you like to approach him?
I probably I want to position myself in like his eye line when I go to sit down at this table with him, because I don't know if he's super attentive like I am. I don't want to startle him.
Oh, he notices you long before you approach.
Okay.
It looks like his reflexes have kind of been honed over the years.
Okay. More experience. Kurosta, how have you been faring?
About as well as one could expect during a time of war. After that spat in Valenwood, it took me a while to recover. I'll have you know, it is not the easiest thing to do to cut one's way out of the inside of a plant.
Yes, I'm sorry that happened in the first place. I should have done more.
Neither of us knew what was going to happen. Whether it was you leading everyone out or someone else, the same thing would have happened.
Yes, but I should have stopped it, Kurosta, is what I'm saying.
He laughs. He says, "What would have there been to stop? Again, there was no way you could have known, and without knowing, there's no stopping."
I should have done something.
This one, for one, is just glad that you made it out alive.
I'm glad that you made it out alive.
He chuckles and takes a bite of fondue. He does offer it to you out of politeness.
I gently pass.
He says, "And what about you? Where have you been all these years? I mean, this one knew that you had retired, but the last time this one had heard, you were fighting in Cyrodiil."
Oh, yes. I've been traveling. Going really anywhere that is away from war.
Easier said than done, I would imagine.
You cut out again?
Easier said than done, I would imagine.
Yes, very much so.
He nods and kind of gestures for a couple of drinks to be brought by. He says, "Oh, excuse me." He says, "So, What exactly was all that commotion about outside earlier today?
It is complicated.
This one has time.
Do I know how he feels about vampirism and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, he is not opposed to it. He kind of has just this almost like ambivalent perspective on it. He's always been one of those people that to prefer to judge people by their character rather than race or appearance.
Okay. My companion who you saw, she is a vampire, and there was a mishap in the need of her to feed, and I have been infected with vampirism, and she has previously expressed the desire to never sire another vampire. So that is what happened.
He just chuckles a little bit. He's like, "This one always hates it when the sheepskin slips. But whatever may happen, know that you're safe here. No vampire is going to be stopping. No vampire is going to be killing my commander today."
She is one with particular talents. I do not think that getting past the army, however impressive they may be, it will be hard for her. But I do have a request of you, Kurosta.
Oh?
I need Nysra's help. And she will not. She will. Yes.
You still there? I think you cut out.
No, Blake got home and was taking off his shoes and
Uh-huh.
the door.
Oh, sorry.
Start.
I didn't mean it.
With shit.
I need Nysra's help to save one of the few friends I have. And I fear that without her, I would not be able to do it.
Kind of nods. He says, "So, you're looking for a cure?"
Yes. However much this prospect is what I desire in the long run, to have more time to study, I don't think I can live with myself if I give my friend even the chance to die because of my decision. I cannot have another death on my hands, Kurosta. I cannot do it.
He nods understandingly. He's like, "That is a burden that this one has also come to recognize." And his eyes kind of glaze over for a brief moment, like he's remembering. And he looks at you. He says, "There's a temple not far from here. If it is still soon enough, the clerics there may be able to cure you before the disease sets in."
Would you come with me?
He says, "Of course, old friend." And then he gets up and looks back at you. He says, "Are you sure this is what you want?"
I know if I do not do it and something happened to Josabra, I could not live with myself.
His face kind of lights up a little bit. He says, Josabra, why didn't you say so sooner? He says, come, we'll get you taken care of.
Thank you.
Tash, what are you doing in the tavern?
Tosh is probably gonna try to keep an eye on Amrit because he knows that he's not 100% sure, but he's pretty sure Nysra is probably going to try to murder him at some point.
Probably, like, there's a 90.
Like, Tosh isn't 100% sure, but he's certain.
Oh,
Certain enough to know to just keep an eye on Amrit and make sure he doesn't lose his head.
Josh,
Mhm.
what is the possibility that because she's invisible, with greater invisibility and can't be detected by anything, that she could have been spying on Amrit during that conversation?
That depends on where you were at.
Oh, she's gonna stalk the shit out of him until kill him unless he does something about his family himself.
Perception check.
She has a passive perception of 20.
Oh, it went up.
Huh?
It went up then. Oh wait, no, it's still
No?
the same.
Yeah.
I would still say active perception since she's mostly focusing her attention on Amrit.
Okay. That will be a perception.
I think there's one thing I need to add to Koro's.
It'd be a 22.
Okay. What was that, Brenda?
I think I need to add a statement to Koro's.
Mhm.
I'll probably just clap him on the shoulder, be like, Kurosta, in the long run, vampirism is something that does appeal to me. Do not let me change my mind.
Yeah, he cocks his head. He says, what do you mean by that?
If I get to the temple and back out, make me.
He nods. He says, if you are certain, this one will do everything in his power to make sure that you succeed.
I'm not letting another person down.
And Nysra, you're hearing all of this.
Mm-hmm.
From the desire to be a vampire to the giving it up for you, so on and so forth.
No, he's not giving it up for me. He's giving it up
well, for Chisabra.
his friend.
Yeah.
So giving it up for his friend.
How long does it take, or does she think it would take if she allowed him to remain a vampire? For him to be able to control himself?
Given the way he's been acting since he woke back up, not very long.
I was going to say, it hasn't taken hold yet. His strain takes 3 days before he dies in his sleep and then wakes up a vampire.
Yeah. And also given his mental faculties, like, yes, he deals with the traumas of his past, but especially when working magic and stuff like that, he generally seems to have a pretty level head.
Does the fact that he suffers from PTSD pose a risk for his hunger?
For hunger, no.
Well, because when he goes into those flashbacks, sometimes he...
Yes, but when he does lash out while in those flashbacks, as we've seen so far, it's almost entirely been magic lashes, not physical, I'm gonna hit you with a sword or a rock kind of thing.
Okay. She'll follow him.
Okay. Tosh, I'm guessing you're following as well, keeping an eye on
Yep.
Amrit. Okay.
Yeah.
So I gotta pull up my map again. There we are. There we are. So they lead you. Karosta leads you southward, toward near where the main gate is, and to a small collection of buildings, in the center of which you actually see the Way Shrine, and toward a fairly small temple. It looks like it's kind of one of those things where it's like it was erected hastily as more people started showing up, so they wanted to make sure that people had the opportunity to pray if they wanted to. And Krosta leads you inside and gestures to a Khajiit priest that is attending to the shrine. And she turns, she sees you, Amrit. She says, "Ah, welcome. What can this one do for you?"
Emery steps forward, kind of takes a look at his hands, which are probably a little shaky, and clenches them and puts them back down and says, "I need a cure for vampirism."
And she gasps. She says, "A cure? How recently were you bitten?"
This morning.
Today. Today, we are still in our window of ease.
It is a good thing that you came here as quickly as you can, then. Had you have waited any longer, it would have been much more difficult for me to be able to dispel it. Please come, sit down here. And she leads you to a small cot next to the shrine to Canarthi. And on the shrine, you can see kind of like the image of a hawk, the Khajiit version of Kinnereth. And she says, It would take me a little bit of time, but do try to make yourself comfortable, and we'll get you sorted as quickly as we can."
Okay. I sit down, I grab the corner with both hands of whatever I'm sitting on, just like a white knuckle, hold myself there, and just kind of stare at the floor.
Like everyone does in the emergency waiting room. What was that, Bob?
If like a tiny, 6-inch tall owl were to fly into the building, how hard would it be for the owl to get where Amrit is?
Not hard at all.
Okay. About how long does Nysra think it'll take for that potion?
Well, she hasn't given Amrit the potion yet. It's going to take a little bit of time to prepare. It could take. Assuming she has all of the ingredients, it could take about 10 minutes, if not more.
Okay. So Amrit's sitting there, trying to give himself the courage to stay.
Mm-hmm.
And a little tiny owl kind of flutters through a window or whatever, tilts its little head at you, hops a little closer.
Does he hop on his lap?
Yeah, hops on his lap.
All leg.
What?
All leg.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's one of those little fey owls. Right now, he just, it's all head. They're super cute and all eyes. He looks up at you with his big eyes, and he kind of like squints his eyes a little bit, like a little happy little grin, and kind of brushes against you for a moment.
Amrit is keeping his hands where they are, because if he takes them off, he's
gonna book
nervous.
it.
Yeah, he's a little nervous. Okay.
It flutters up onto your shoulder and kind of nuzzles against your ear.
And he just says quietly, "Nysra, I need your help to save Josabra. And helping my friend is more important than... Do not stay away after this is done."
You hear her voice through the owl whisper in your ear of, have your life's desires through your own blood and will been complete?
What?
That which you cannot have in undeath, have you accomplished it?
I believe so.
And you do not wish for your bloodline to...
You cut out there for a brief moment. You do not wish for your bloodline to what?
continue.
I see no point in it. You have made your position very clear on this matter, Nysra, and while I do not believe that you are my sire...
I am not.
Very well. I understand your positioning, and I respect your will to keep it. So I will give this up if you will help me with Josabra. Because he is one of the few friends I have losing another friend.
You would give up your current greatest dream, as mortals tend to adjust so quickly in order to save another.
Emery kind of looks up, knowing that you're, visible
Somewhere.
Just look.
You hope.
Point.
You can look into the owl's eyes.
His
His beautiful, beautiful eyes as he's whispering sweet nothings into your ear.
And there's actually like a facial expression that you haven't quite seen on Emery before. A little mix of desperation, a little mix of sadness, of like just very unsure. And like there's a little bit of a watery eye thing going. He's like, I would give up my greatest dream for my friend at any moment.
You kind of hear, like, you're not sure if the owl laughed or if she actually, but it's really soft. And then she says, then perhaps now is not your moment, but keep to your word. Should you become a threat, your moment will come.
You're not going to kill me?
Not today. With that tone of fuck up once.
Like, the possibility hasn't left the table.
Yeah, the possibility hasn't left the table. But the owl kind of hops down and kind of like lands kind of closer to the door, looks at you, does a little head tilt of come on, and then flies off.
Did Karosta hear any of this?
Yes, actually, because he was sitting next to you, and he just looks at you, Emery. He says, "This one's going to be honest. He does not know what to do in this situation." You said.
Any of this?
Told you it's okay, bro.
That depends on where you were at, Tosh.
I was definitely keeping around Amrit, so
So you might not have heard, but you were close enough to see him talking to an owl. And Gross is sitting there looking so confused. He's like, so this one was asked not to let you change your mind.
Oh, and it would have been in Aldmaris. The owl speaks in Aldmaris.
So does Karosta. So does Karosta.
I know.
Yeah.
I didn't know that Karosta spoke up Maris.
Yeah. And he says, but you did not change your mind a bird changed your mind. And this one is not certain if the bird is Daedric or something else.
The bird is my friend's companion.
The Argonian?
No. No, the vampire who bit me, who was going to kill me, had not come back.
So, she bit you, turned you into a vampire, you ask for help to get cured, this one promises not to let you change your mind, an owl shows up, your friend who was going to kill you is not going to kill you. This is turning out to be one of the strangest days I've ever had, and that's... You know that's saying something.
Yes, it is. But life is never boring around me. You can say that's the truth.
So... He scratches his head for a moment, he's like, does this count as you changing your mind, or your friend changing your mind?
My friend changing her mind.
Oh, then in that case, this one kept to his word. And he gives you a sly wink.
Okay.
Bob and Brenna, both of you get inspiration.
Yes.
If inspiration were able to stack, I would have given you multiple. And I ain't going to lie, that whole scene brought a tear to my eye. So, yeah. Tosh, you see a brief exchange between Amrit and Karosta, and Amrit gets up and starts following the owl.
I give Karosta a good hug first, like a good solid hug first.
Oh, he definitely returns it.
Yes.
And he looks at you. He says, "Wherever life takes you, know that you've got a friend here, and as long as this one lives, you can call on him at a moment's notice. My second in command is very well versed. I taught him much the same way you taught me."
Did he get eaten by a plant too?
Not quite, but this one would say that the smell of the latrine is not too far different than the smell of the plant.
The same goes for you, Karosta. If you should need, I will come. But know that I am not the best in any combat situation.
And he kind of nods, gives you another hug, and says, "Bright moons guide you, friend." Before he turns and heads back to the tavern.
Okay, I follow the owl.
Toshtar follows Amrit.
Yes.
Was anybody else in the room? They
You guys leave the temple, and the priestess comes back out holding a goblet of a potion in her hand, just looking around like, oh, this one was...
I was thinking I might stay long enough to put that in a bottle.
Well, I was thinking about that too.
What I was gonna say is the owl leaves out, but I was going to say once everybody left, before the priestess came back, I was just going to have what appeared to be saying that he got they still called you the general, right? Is that how they addressed Amrit?
I believe he called me my commander. I don't remember.
Commander.
Well,
how is
Karosta refers to you as his commander, but you still hold the rank of general. So.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. She was going to get the potion bottle. She has 2 more days in case you do something stupid. She's like, right. Oh, the general and general?
Yes.
Like, those ones got called away. Can we take it to go?
This one normally would bless an afflicted before giving it, but here. And she scribbles down the blessing on a piece of parchment and hands it to you along with the vial. And she says, "Just be sure that he gets this in the right amount of time. Otherwise, it will have no effect."
Of course.
And okay, so Amrit and Tosh, where do you guys head?
You following the bird?
Yeah, I'm following the bird. Okay.
And I'm following Amrit.
How close are you
I've heard
to?
the phrase "a little birdie told me," but I've never seen it happen literally.
How close to Amrit are you following?
Decently close. Like close enough for a conversation, I suppose.
Okay, so you're not remaining hidden anymore.
I wasn't unaware I was hidden in general.
Tasha was straight up just following him.
Okay.
Yeah. Tosh was not attempting to hide his presence. Tosh was just following, being a bodyguard.
Yeah. All right. So you guys are following the bird. If you would like to have a conversation.
Does Tosh want to have a conversation?
I mean, the only thing Tosh wanted to say was the joke about a little birdie, and that was said, so we're good.
Oh, legit.
Inspiration point
Amrit
for that.
laughed.
Inspiration for the birdie joke. Okay, so where is the bird leading them?
Probably somewhere secluded that Nysra can meet up with them at.
So probably just outside the gates, so on the elsewhere side of the wall.
Yeah.
Okay.
Does she know of a shrine within a day's travel of here?
There are shrines pretty much in any civilized area.
Okay. Because they're gonna want another shrine, or to use a shrine. She just doesn't want to use the one that they had been in.
Oh, the way
She's
shrine?
Rather not.
As in like the way shrines for continuing the
Yeah.
jumps? Okay.
Yeah.
You guys would still have to rest for a little while in order to replenish your magicka.
Mhm.
But yeah, while you might not be able to use the use the Western Gate Shrine again, since you've elected to not want to, you could travel to Fort Sphinx Moth, or Sphinx Moth, or possibly to Arenthia, both of which are about a day's travel.
Okay. That would give time to recover as well.
Yeah. So yeah, so eventually you guys get to just outside the gate, and I'm guessing that's when Nysra reappears.
No.
Keeping her distance. Okay. Alright, so you guys travel for a day toward where would you like to travel? Arenthia or Sphinx Moth?
Which is likely to be less difficult about this mixed group?
At this point you guys are in Aldmeri territory. So with the exception of the Argonian, everybody here is pretty much just with the exception of the Argonian and the Orc, nothing is uncharacteristic about this party.
Okay.
And even then, like, there are always travelers of various races. So,
whichever one's the easiest to get to. Like,
okay.
I know they're both a day's travel, but whichever is the lightest travel.
Okay, so probably to Arenthia. Tosh,
Mm-hmm.
you guys are now in your homeland. This is the western portion of Elsewhere, where there are large stretches of plains and the like. The region that you're in, Reaper's March, um, is also the home of one of the largest Khajiit cities in the world, the city of Dune. How do you... Huh? Huh?
Right?
How do you feel about being in your homeland?
Ambivalent.
So you guys get to Orenthia, and there is a way shrine there. And so you guys have slept one night. I'm going to say you guys probably have slept a second night at this point. And you guys are close enough to a way shrine to begin your next jump.
Okay.
Okay, let's do this.
After the first night, like kind of in the middle of the night when they make camp, that's like once Zod is asleep.
That's when Nysra shows back up?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So yeah, you guys are who would like to head up this jump?
I'll do it first.
Okay. And before you do that, I have a question for you guys. At this point, you can travel west to Malabal Tor, or you can travel south to Grotwood. Grotwood is the heart of Valenwood. Whereas Malabal Tor is kind of like northern Valenwood. You could potentially, if you wanted to, do an additional jump from whichever region into Greenshade, if you wanted to go to Greenshade, which is western Valenwood.
We could try to contact Joe Sabra again before we make the jump to find out what region he was in when he got captured, and if he has an idea of what region of Valenwood he's in.
Yeah, that might be wise.
Okay.
So that way we don't have to play jump around with the what else.
One of my new cantrips. Sorry, I don't have it yet. Okay, I got 2 more days.
1 more day.
1 more day. Sorry.
Assuming she doesn't put it in your sleep.
Yes. And then I'll have to erase everything again.
As you guys travel...
You look like shit, by the way.
Yeah, I was going to say, as you guys were traveling, Amrit has started to look very worse for the wear. His skin has gotten even more pale. His eyes are kind of bloodshot. And
He looks like he's aged.
Yeah, he's looking like he's aging. He looks very, well, more gaunt than he used to be. As if he was like starving to a certain degree. And Tosh, you've seen a similar kind of affliction happen to someone before, only it obviously wasn't vampirism. There's no way Amrit's going to be able to continue walking over the next course of over the next day. Like, you just know his strength's going to fail him.
I'm going to see... I'm going to cast Unseen Servant to see if we can help him along.
Okay. So every now and then, Amrit, when you lose your strength while trying to walk, you feel something kind of helping hold you up.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, you're going to attempt to scry for Srathudar or otherwise, or Srathudar, for Chisabra or otherwise, contact Chisabra?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Which would you like to do?
I don't have the message spell yet.
But we did use a ritual before.
Yes, but the other people in the room could see it. So if he's in a situation where room,
He's fucked.
it could be bad.
Yes.
Do I know of some other way to contact him?
Contacting him, no. But given your expertise in magic, you know that if if you were to try to scry for him, since you have a vial of his blood, you only need one drop to be able to figure out what region specifically he's in.
So I would say scry, and then we.
Okay. Yeah, I'd like to scry on him, please. Thank you.
Okay. Describe the ritual for me.
Get a bowl of water.
Yeah, so Amrit kind of shakily makes another little circle thing. He likes circles.
As elves do.
As elves do. Sits down in it, finishes it, pulls out a bowl a small bowl from his pack, pours a little bit of water in it, and grabs the vial of Josabra blood and puts one little drop in the middle of it and casts the ritual.
Okay. The bowl begins to glow a little bit. And I'm gonna say you also have a map out in front of you.
Yes.
Of Faerun, or not Faerun, wrong world. Of Tamriel. And the water, the blood water mix kind of splays out within the circle for a bit before gathering together into a single point, which travels over the map and begins to settle on Grotwood.
Okay, so we know he's in Grotwood?
Yes.
Okay. Do I have a map specifically of Grotwood?
You do not.
Ah, shoot.
Do I?
You do not. Not
Okay.
specifically of Grotwood.
Okay, that's fine.
Do I have a more detailed map of Valenwood?
Of Valenwood as a whole, yes.
Okay. Because if he's being held in one town, we don't necessarily want to hear there, especially if they're capturing vampires. And you need time to recover.
Mm-hmm.
What is the next closest shrine to the city that he's in?
For major jumping like that, Elden Root, the capital of the Aldmeri Dominion.
You want to go to your capital city? He's like, I really don't. No, because we'd have to let you become a vampire before you got there. Do you have disguise self? Because you're going to look like shit when you first wake.
Nope. I do not have disguise self.
Ooh, that should be something you should pick up. Do you want to learn it from her? Because she has it.
Don't judge him too harshly. He's new at this.
I would love to learn it from you.
Okay. She tells you that we have two options. We can go to Grotwood and lose any bit of surprise we might have in trying to find him.
Or
And she looks at you with that look of like, you're not gonna. It seems you're the capital of
the Altmary Dominion.
the Altmary Dominion is our next best location to appear.
The Elden Root is in Grotwood. Grotwood is just the region. But Elden Root is the nearest city and nearest way shrine to where the blood was pointed.
The point on the thing was. Yeah. So she says the closest to get us without. Is there a way shrine in the location where the scrying pointed to?
Nope.
Okay. So yeah, she's like, so we have there is the closest. Your other options are farther away.
Do I think that any negative repercussions will happen if I go back to the capital of the Altmary Dominion?
In regards to your status as a general, in relation to being a vampire, how specifically are you referring?
Yeah, all of the above.
You're not sure as far as vampire? As far as your status as a general within the Dominion, like, that in itself is a title of respect, and the fact that people still respect you as a general is a big thing. It was really only the Mages Guild that had expelled you for dabbling in necromancy.
However, your people do not like the undead.
Yes, but they don't necessarily know.
If we go there right now with you, do?
The majority of inhabitants in Elden Root are Wood Elves. While it's the capital of the Altmary Dominion, it is not a high elf city. It was the representative capital that Queen Irene had selected because it was on the mainland.
Okay. And I always get this mixed up. Did I get kicked out of the Mages Guild before the Worm Cult and before the war, or what sort of order of situations did Amrit go through?
Probably shortly after you retired.
Get kicked out of the Mages Guild?
Yeah.
So you retired as a general, went into the Mages Guild, did some things you shouldn't be doing, got kicked out, and then joined it.
Okay. Now I have
you know, like you do when you retire from the military.
like you do. Okay, so I have no reason to not want to go.
What was that, Brenna?
What? So I have no reason to not want to go?
Yeah, there's no reason to avoid Elden Root.
Okay. Go to Eldenwood.
Do you want to take time to rest before we go? This next night is going to be very rough for you.
That might be wise. Yeah, I don't want them assuming that you guys are...
Because you might die when we reach a...
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
And then that'd be hard to explain.
Yeah. Since I know what his first night will be like after he passes and comes back, where's the best place to take him for that?
So I'm assuming you're going to want someplace with very few people.
And animal. I want animals. I want him to be able to feed on something.
Well, the good news is that you guys are in elsewhere. So if you were to leave Arenthia from the south, you could go out onto the plains. There are grazing animals out there, and not very many Khajiit.
Okay. I will task Tasha and Zod then to corral us some, and I'm guessing Julinak's with us?
Mm-hmm.
And we have Lyra.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I tell them we will want to obtain as many livestock or animals as we can and get away from civilization when we make camp tonight.
Lyra nods and she says, I think I might have just the thing. And she heads out after gathering a selection of herbs and such.
How has Lyra been taking the last 2 days anyway?
Ups and downs. She was excited when you turned out to be okay. She was very nervous about having Nysra back with the group. But upon finding that Nysra's now helping, she's slowly warming back up to the idea. But
Okay.
other than that, just very eager and excited to be part of the adventure.
Okay. Has she had her worried little kid face with my degenerating state of...
Yes, she did. While she knows that it's because of the affliction, she still doesn't quite like the fact that you're suffering for it.
When they make camp, Nysra is going to take Amrit away from the group to have them bed down amongst the whatever gathered animals we've gotten. So he has a nice little tasty selection.
Mm-hmm.
And you are sure you're okay with Nysra? Because I can still take that potion.
She holds it out and she says, I will leave that choice to you.
I'd rather not drink the potion. But if...
She like sets the potion in front of you and tells you that this is your last night to save yourself from any moment of weakness you may find yourself in. Because if I cannot trust you as one of my own kind, I will end you.
So, okay, so how would you guys like to, like, aside from now you're far away from the group, far away from civilization, how would you like to prepare for Amrit's last night among the living?
Okay. And while she is out, and they're out by themselves, she shows him a dart and tells him.
Tells him what?
What she's learned.
Read it.
Okay. She tells you, she's like, this is your last night. I know you are not who I sired. Which means there is someone out there, and she shows you who is and is a danger.
What is this?
In that moment before death, someone darted you with their own blood to ensure you would turn.
What? What? Ugh.
She's like, so you may make your choice, but you are not my fledgling, and I will have no choice should you become a problem but to kill you.
If I was your fledgling, you would have killed me. Just putting that out there. But
no, if you were my fledgling and it had, then I would have let you live.
Fair. But I do not understand. Targeted me to make me turn?
It seems so. They infected you with their own strain.
I do not know who.
And that is where the problem lies.
Why would someone do that?
Thralls are very useful. And if that was their intention, then you could be used against those you care about, if your will is not strong. So again, the choice is yours. But should you have a moment of weakness, it will be the only moment you have.
Very well. I will run that risk. I trust in my own power.
And she kind of just gives you this look of like disappointment and knowing at how you are the last like few times with like combat and things and how easy it was to thrall you at like PTSD catatonic state.
That's cheating.
she just like she's like, all right, you've made your choice.
Cheating. Using my PTSD is cheating.
And you that whoever did this to you wouldn't? Like, they didn't even ask you. They fucking
That is an entirely fair point there.
yeah. I was like, it's a
I just wonder who it could possibly be. I don't know that many vampires. But it is something I want.
Mhm.
And if I cure myself of it now, I am never going to get a chance again. So if it becomes a problem, we can figure out how to cure me later.
She gives you this look.
No.
Oh, okay.
It's fine. We'll
He's like,
deal with it later.
he's like, I'm sure there's cures later, right? Right? And Nysra just looks at Nysra and she's like, I know what her magic is. That's not curing.
I trust myself enough that I want to see where this goes.
Okay. Fair.
So I just put the potion back in my bag. Into my bag. I'm keeping it for later.
All right.
Just in case you accidentally bite somebody.
Yeah. Maybe.
So you guys bed down for the night. Tosh, Lyra, and Zod and Julinak are all camped far enough away to where if Amrit were to go feral, he wouldn't find them. At least not quickly.
Tosh has a backup plan in case that happens. Don't worry.
We're gonna shoot him.
That's not my backup plan, but that is the backup plan. That's like plan C.
Okay, what's plan B?
Plan B is hold monster.
So you guys bed down for the night. Tosh, you're keeping watch. And all you hear from the distance is screams. Agonized screaming. And you do recognize that screaming to be Amrit's, as back out in the camp with Nysra and Amrit, halfway through the night, he starts convulsing. And Nysra, this is all expected. You've seen this happen with this strain before.
She would have told the rest of the group that no matter what, do not come over here.
Yeah.
Like, she doesn't care, and she would even probably have, even if he screams for help, do not come over here.
And after about maybe 2 hours of all this screaming, it goes silent.
Oh, she'll leave her owl with them.
Mm-hmm.
With the group. So that way, like, she can keep watch and make
Yeah.
sure nobody like tries to come check it out. She's not entirely sure the small child is not going to listen, and so she's like, I'm watching you.
Lyra spends most of that time keeping her ears covered and just trying to block it out of her mind. And even Pierre is kind of like, has like scuttled over to Lyra to kind of try to comfort her in his own little crab-like way. And Tosh, what are you doing as all this screaming is going on?
Tosh is just gonna stay awake and make sure that screaming doesn't get any louder or closer.
Fair.
Also fair.
The screaming eventually just stops. And Nysra, like, you see like, when Amrit stops screaming, you just see him convulsing some more. And at this point, he's foaming at the mouth, just like the final like bit of fatality of the venom is sinking in. And finally he stops. And with your keen vampiric hearing, you hear 1 heartbeat, 2 heartbeats, but the 3rd heartbeat doesn't come.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like that for another hour. And then all of a sudden, with a gasp, Amrit's awake again. This time, his eyes are just blood red and glowing. And Amrit, you're ravenous. I would like to. I would like you to make a willpower saving throw.
All right, Tony.
Remember, you do have inspiration.
That's okay. I think I got it. That is a 17.
You're resisting the hunger.
Cool.
You look terrifying, but you're resisting the hunger.
Nysra takes you over to one of the animals that they've
gathered
and probably tied up so they couldn't leave.
Mm-hmm.
And tells you to feed.
Okay, I eat this sucker. Nom nom nom, slurp slurp.
Mostly slurp
Slorp,
slurp.
slorp.
Slurp slurp.
Mostly slurp. They're a juice pack right now. Like, this is a delicious Capri Sun.
And if I recall correctly, you went with Noxophila sanguivoria?
Yes.
Okay. You're actually able to feed to the point where you get to stage 1. There are enough animals to fully sate your hunger.
Nysra would have made sure that there was just fuck ton of them.
And part of the help that Lyra did was she used a combination of alchemy and charm animal to be able to get enough animals to willingly come to this area where they wouldn't be able to leave. So
where they got knocked out, tied up, and hung to eat.
Mm-hmm.
Question: does his feeding on them taint the meat? Like, can someone eat the meat?
They can eat the meat, but
that's
it's
been
not.
bitten?
They can eat, but it's not recommended. In
Okay.
part because without all that blood, it loses flavor.
Well, I was more so
I don't think we really care about.
worried about the disease.
Oh, these are like wild antelope, so.
No, I meant like people can't get vampirism from eating an animal fed on, right?
No, nor do I think they would want to. I don't think they would want to eat it. So.
Well, we're gonna feed Toshstar if he's hungry. Like,
Fair.
And I don't think Zod would care. So like,
Yeah, that's true. There's not a lot of picky eaters around here.
yeah.
And after several hours, Tosh, you see two people coming over a rise, and as they draw closer, you see Nysra, and now you see Amrit with glowing red eyes, and he looks okay. If
As
a bit
well as a
more,
vampire can.
well, he's of a strain that doesn't necessarily make him look as terrifying as like the vampire lord strain would. And what do you guys do?
I greet them and say, "Hey, welcome back to the I guess not world of the living."
I'll take it.
How is Amrit feeling?
He's probably got a lot of process.
Mhm.
Would Amrit be? I assume that Amrit would still be like emotionally and physically exhausted after all this.
Oh yeah.
So Amrit probably just wants to go to sleep.
Which is fair, and you guys still have some time before dawn.
Yeah, get a little nap in. Get some
Okay.
nap in.
Bonus is your strain doesn't burn to ash in sunlight.
Yes.
Good job.
When he goes to sleep, Tosh, you notice he's not breathing.
Well, that sounds like a vampire. So
It's a little unsettling.
all is good. All is good.
All right.
Nysra can teach you disguise self if you would like to learn,
Cool.
because you will need it.
Especially if you get too hungry.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
This party has a lot of people with hunger.
Yeah, that's true.
Alright, so you guys sleep for the night, and probably wait until midday before heading back into town to do the teleport, which will give enough time for Amrit to learn Disguise Self.
Okay. Yeah, she'll teach him how to disguise himself. She will conceal his aura for him
Mhm.
for the time being. She doesn't want unwanted attention drawn to the group by someone being able to detect him.
Hey, keep it going on him long enough and it becomes permanent.
Until she chooses to dispel it, yes.
I
Yeah.
would love that.
Want to spend a month with her?
Yeah, totes.
All right. Go ahead and make the Arcana check for the last jump.
Oh, is it me? I'm sorry.
That's you.
Ooh.
That's all on you, Babu.
Babu.
Mhm.
I'm writing on my page.
I mean, Nysra already viewed everyone else's children, but now you're definitely.
I'm new to this. That would be a 23.
And if you haven't already, you also now get to add your intelligence modifier to any rolls regarding spells.
Oh.
Because vampire.
Yeah.
23 plus 5 is 28.
Okay. The world begins to shimmer a bit, and you guys end up teleporting. I need Constitution saving throws for anyone who is not undead.
Is not what?
Not undead.
So that would be me.
Why have I been making these this whole time?
I don't know.
You said everybody.
Hey, you didn't throw
I
up,
failed.
so.
Yeah. This is true. So
I rolled a 3.
Everyone who is not undead has vomited. Because I rolled for Lyra and Zod and Julinak, and both Lyra and Zod got 5s, and Julinak got a 2.
yeah.
I haven't rolled anything above a 10 today.
Nysra does prestidigitation, so she's like, no, get rid of the vomit. Like, just ew. Next time we do way shrine travel, she's gonna have them like, here you go. Here's your bucket, complimentary bucket for the trip. Okay. So how far from where we are at is it to where we need to go?
Probably about a day or so's worth of travel. About to the where is it? To the southwest, actually.
Okay.
When you guys finish teleporting, instead of finding yourself in a city as you guys have grown used to, you are at the base of an absolutely massive tree. All around you, wood elves are going about their business. This, there are various pods that have been kind of grown into trees around the area. But this tree that you guys are standing near is one of the largest, well, not even one of, it's the largest you have ever seen. And you're no longer in an urban kind of landscape. Everything here is wild and overgrown. Trees everywhere, vines and such. This is a veritable jungle. Welcome to Valenwood.
Yeah.
Amrit takes a nice deep breath and just kind of centers himself, because last time he was here was not a pleasant experience.
Oh, this is, well, I mean, fair. A different region of Valenwood, but fair.
Yes, but still Valenwood.
Yeah. Yeah. How would you guys like to proceed?
Head toward the place we need to go.
Okay. The main road goes southeast of where you want to go, so you'll have to do some off-roading. And
Nysra would like to find someone who they know the area.
Yeah, she can attempt to do that. Where in town do you guys hang out while she does that, or did you want to wait outside of town?
Or at least someone who's local to this region. She just wants to find out if there's anything going on that a traveler should be concerned about.
Okay. Well, you do see a merchant kind of setting up shop, not near the base of the tree, but in the base of the tree. As the roots come up and form kind of like this dome over the ground floor. And he looks like he's just come into the area. So if there's anything going on that travelers should be aware about, he would be the most likely to be intensely aware of it.
Okay. Yeah, she'll approach him.
Okay. He's, like all wood elves, fairly short. Large green eyes and close cropped hair. He kind of looks up to you and says, "Oh, hello there. I wasn't quite expecting to have any customers quite yet. I'm not quite set up. But what can I help you with?"
Worry not, friend. I was mostly here to ask if there's any possible danger for traveling. And I would hate to have my companions and I find ourselves in trouble that had not been for.
Well, welcome to Valenwood, friend. Anywhere you go out here's as likely to kill you as the next.
I'm not worried about natural enemies, just those that flora and fauna do not bother.
Oh, well, suit yourself. I mean, there are rumors of worm cultists being out here and the like, but where else where in Tamriel doesn't have that risk? I mean, some rumors of undead in a couple of the burial grounds, and I've heard strange things about South Point, something along the line of I guess, people gone mad, but beyond that, should be safe traveling as long as you keep to the roads.
Have there been any troubles with people going missing? More so than usual, I should say.
He thinks for a moment. He says, "Can't say I've heard anything of anyone going missing, but come to think about it, when I was up near Raymond's Bluff, there was a mention of a mage that's gone missing. Very charismatic fella, so some sort of Khajiit, from what I'd heard. But
Josabra.
That might have been the name. To be honest, most Khajiit names kind of sound the same to me. I'd heard rumor that he says, but that's the only disappearance that's really stood out to me lately. Didn't really think nothing of it.
All right, thank you. And she'll give him a septum for his trouble.
He smiles and nods and gets back to setting up his wagon.
Okay.
All right. So, where to?
She goes back to the group and lets him know that what she'd heard: worm cultists, undead, possible lycanthropy. No incidences of known missing persons, aside from word has spread that Josabra.
Okay. Let's go save him.
All right then.
So, you guys head out, and you're traveling southeast. It's slow going because of how wild and thick the underbrush gets. Every so often, you have to circumnavigate a just absolutely massive tree. Every now and then, you guys are having to swat away. Well, okay. Tashdar, Julinak, pretty much just Tashdar and Julinak are having to swat away blood-sucking bugs. And
does Zod and Lyra not have that issue?
Lyra has that issue. Zod does not. His scales are preventing the bugs from really doing anything.
They're like, that's not food.
And you guys get further in. Eventually, it starts getting to the point where your speed traveling overland has dropped by almost 3/4. And you have no choice but to make camp as the sun is setting and darkness is beginning to set in on the forest. If not for the sake of the vampires in the group, then for the mortals in the group.
Yeah. How far from where we were hoping to be are we?
Still a ways away. What seemed to be a day when when you initially looked at the map now seems like it might be closer to 2. So you've got at least another day's worth of travel.
Okay.
Solely because of how difficult it is to traverse the underbrush.
Can I cast message and send it to Josabra that we're coming?
Sure. Go ahead and describe it for me.
Describe the casting of the spell or say the message?
Both. Because I assume message is one way.
I believe message lets you get
can respond.
one response,
okay.
a short response back.
Yeah, but I believe it's within like a couple seconds message,
Yeah,
so it's pretty short.
Okay.
I think it's like 10 words maximum. That it's like a short message.
Okay.
That's how we're coming in Valenwood. Where are you?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm sending a message to Josabra that says, "We're coming in Valenwood. Where are you?"
So you send the spell out, and the grasses below your feet end up twisting and forming the shape of a Khajiit's face, and move to kind of mimic the image of him talking.
That's cool.
Says, "Close, watch out, he's rogue," and then the grasses die. And at this point, Nysra and Amrit, you see 2 points of glowing light in one of the trees looking down at you. And when Tashtar gets the light of the campfire going, you see a wood elf in the trees wearing a loincloth and a jackal skull.
He
Ready?
wears a little more than a loincloth.
Not at the moment, he doesn't. Because he's just broken out. And a jackal skull. And he's about to leap. And that's where we'll pick it up next time.
Fuck.
For those of you watching...
Emery? You
For those of you watching, if you enjoyed, feel free to leave a like, comment, and subscribe down below. If you want to be notified of further episodes, hit that bell icon. And we will catch you guys in a couple of weeks with session 12.